Welcome to The Topic on HCC TV. I'm Todd Duplantis. Thanks for joining us. We've got a great show for the next half hour or so. Stick around. We want to remind you, if you're watching us on the channel, on HCC TV, on cable, make sure you find us in social media. You can find us under Houston Community College District. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We're all over social media. Most importantly, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel where you can get notifications of shows like this when we post them. Are you into maybe podcasting? Well, we've got podcast video recordings of all of our shows available at hccs.edu/podcast. Talking today about returning to work for many of our students, going out into the job world. You know, as the COVID pandemic begins to recede, businesses are rehiring to meet consumer demand. HCC has a wide array of services to help both current and former students find the next step in their career path. James Mable, Director of Career and Job Placement Services, joins us today to discuss. Good afternoon to you, James.
Good afternoon, Todd. Thanks for having me on the show.
Absolutely. We've talked about this many times, and I guess we can't state it enough, but learning doesn't just happen in the classroom. HCC has a number of ways that students can earn money while learning their trade. And let's talk about not just getting out in the career field after school is over, but maybe while you're in college, you might need a job. Maybe your job hours have been cut and you need some gainful employment to finish your college career. You guys have services that can help them with that.
Yes, we have companies always looking for students to work on a part-time basis through co-ops and internships. We direct those companies to post their opportunities in Career Hub, but we also engage students directly about those opportunities via email and text. And one program I want to really point out that students might not be aware of, and that is the HCC Path to Profession program. It's through financial aid. If a student qualifies for work study, there's a way for them to work in their field on a part-time basis, gaining real-world experience in their field of interest for $15 an hour.
Yeah, that's pretty good. While you're still going to school, maybe you don't even have a degree yet or an associate's degree. I know when I went to, and we utilize a lot of work study students here at HCC TV, folks, so we certainly believe in their talent. James, I know when I went to college, the trend, at least in broadcasting, was you wanted as an intern to go work for free. You do anything they asked just to get the experience, but you did get some college credit for that. Things have changed a bit. You still can get college credit, but a lot of internships are paying our students now. Is that correct?
Yes, there has definitely been a trend to pay interns for the work that they are performing for an organization. Now, in some industries, it's so competitive that they may not pay. It still might be unpaid because they view the experience as extremely valuable to a student's career. But for the most part, we do work with employers that are paying students anywhere from $10 to $20 an hour for their work on a part-time basis.
Right. And let's talk about apprenticeships. What's the difference between internships and apprenticeships?
Think about on-the-job training. An apprenticeship provides an opportunity for a student, especially an apprenticeship that's registered with a school. It's an opportunity for that student to achieve a certificate or a degree, and most likely that certificate or degree is paid for by the company. And any training that the company provides on site or in the classroom are paid also by the company. And the student is paid an actual wage. And it's usually for the life of that certificate or an associate degree. So just think, an apprenticeship is an opportunity for a student to gain real world experience on the job, being paid as an employee at that company. And the expectation for the company is that student comes on afterwards and works in a full-time capacity at the company.
Are you locked into working for that company? Say you go through the apprenticeship and you're thinking, I don't know if I want to work for these guys when I get out of college. Is it something that where you're locked in, and are there ways to avoid that as you're going to an apprenticeship if it's just not working out for the student?
You're not necessarily locked into the apprenticeship. Obviously, the goal for students being accepted into an apprenticeship program is for that student to gain the skill set needed in order to perform a full-time role. But students can gain that certificate or an associate degree in the apprenticeship. And if things don't work out, they still have that certificate or an associate degree to go pursue another opportunity.
When I think apprenticeship, I think the real hands-on trades, like plumbing, electrical. Are those mainly workforce that involve apprenticeships?
Yes, and what
And
I
they're
would say,
required too, right?
yes, a lot of those apprenticeships are going to deal with workforce type capacities, like you mentioned, plumbing, automotive, diesel mechanics, even pharmacy tech. And then, regular business positions as well. We actually are aware of a couple of apprenticeship programs with Aon, and Aon has a business and IT apprenticeship program where a student can complete an associate degree at HCC while they're working at Aon and continue to a full-time role. And we're also going to be working with Accenture, and Accenture has another full-time opportunity for a student to gain experience and start working with that company after the apprenticeship ends. Now, students can also go to apprenticeship.gov, and the great thing about apprenticeship.gov, they can show you all the apprenticeships that are available in Houston, and a lot of them have to deal with the trades. And there's over 250 registered and unregistered apprenticeships in the Houston area. Some are working with schools and some are specifically with a company.
So it'll tell you on that website, and would you be able to assist them if they find something on the website, come back to you guys and find out if it lines up with what their course load is at HCC?
Yes, we can work with them directly if they have questions about an apprenticeship that they find on that website. We can reach out to the company directly about the requirements for the program and give that information to students.
James, we mentioned something at the top of the show. I want to take a deeper dive into the work study program, because $15 an hour is nothing to sneeze at when you're going to college and you're looking for some part-time work. Work study, explain how that works, because we use a number of work study students. This is kind of like a scholarship that's used for your financial aid, so you don't have to pay it back?
Exactly. So the way federal work study works is that a student is given a certain allotment of funds that are dedicated to work study. And work study, the whole purpose of that is for a student to literally work and earn income. And the government gives the student a certain amount of work study funds. And if students are eligible for work study through their FAFSA, they can actually apply for jobs. And a lot of those work study jobs that I've mentioned that are through the Path to Profession program are actually posted in HCC Career Hub. And all of those jobs are actually at companies from a variety of industries in a variety of roles. So students can apply just as they would for a regular position. That a company would get their resume and they would contact them for an interview. If they're selected, financial aid would process that job, and that student would start working at that company in a work study capacity.
Now, is the student earning money to use for living expenses, or does that money have to go to pay for their tuition?
No, those funds would go towards living expenses.
Okay.
They would be paid just as they would if they were working a part-time job.
Is it a very popular program with our students? Do you have more students than you have funding, or is everyone pretty much having an available shot at getting some funding for this?
So work study is extremely popular. We have, I think, about 100 companies that are participating in the Path to Profession program, and it is relatively new. We just started having those jobs posted in HCC Career Hub probably in the last month. And so there are a lot of job opportunities available right now, and we're going to continue to see more of these opportunities be posted in Career Hub over the summer and into the fall semester. So I anticipate that it will become competitive over time.
Absolutely. It's great news for our students. And as we mentioned, folks, we do hire those work study students. They're lifesavers, and they do some work here at HCC TV. All right. So we're going to continue speaking with James Mable. He is the director of HCC's Career and Job Placement Services. We're going to take a short break. When we come back on the topic, we're going to meet up with, you might wonder, what companies are hiring students? Well, we're going to meet a company and one of the students coming up. Stay with us. We'll return on the topic after this.
The faculty at HCC represents the best of the city. They're committed to getting our students to their goals.
A 4-year degree.
Workforce training. A better life.
HCC, for everyone, anytime, anyway.
Being prepared is a part of who you are. But it's especially important in the case of a disaster. Be informed about possible emergencies in your area. Make a plan that covers where you'll go in an emergency. Build a kit with the things you need to survive. There's no one more capable of planning for your situation than you. Start your plan today. Go to ready.gov/myplan.
Today I'm going to talk to you about physics. Come on in, girls. Let's go. This is the first rocket to get humans to Mars.
Really tall.
I'm a rocket structural engineer, designing and building parts of the rocket. You are the generation that will be stepping foot on Mars. Do I have a group of astronauts on my hands?
Yes.
You can become a rocket scientist or whatever else you want to be.
I love teaching at HCC. I love helping students.
With college credits.
With scholarships and financial aid.
Training them for life-changing careers.
Come learn with us.
HCC, for everyone, anytime, anyway.
Welcome back to the topic on HCC TV. I'm Todd Duplantis. We're talking about returning back to work. A number of our students getting hired to work in the workforce from HCC. We're going to meet one of the companies that's actually worked with some of our students. Before we get to them, I want to remind you to make sure you follow us in social media. You can find us on Facebook, of course, on Twitter, Instagram. We also have Snapchat, and most importantly, YouTube. We're under Houston Community College District. If you subscribe to our YouTube channel, you get notifications when these shows are posted. And also we have podcasts available. The audio versions of our show are downloadable and available at hccs.edu/podcast. On to today's show. We're talking to a company that has actually hired one of our students through the internship program. You know, Houston's one of the most culturally diverse cities in the nation, and its media landscape reflects that. AfroVibes TV and radio provides African and Caribbean programming, and when they need new talent for their mission, they turn to HCC. Ysa Abraham, Business Development Manager, and Cara Soleil White, Creative Director, join us this afternoon. Good afternoon, ladies. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Yes.
Let's start first off about AfroVibes. Maybe you can tell us a bit about your company. Sounds like your TV, radio, social media, you do it all there. How long has the company been around? And maybe you can talk about where it is today.
Yeah, so AfroVibes Radio was started in 2016 by Philip Bellon. He started to promote Black culture, African-American, Caribbean, and African culture. It's been growing so much. It's in 182 countries. We promote a lot of DJ mixes and then high-profile interviews. And since 2019, with obviously COVID, and 2020 with the pandemic, a lot of people started listening to radio a lot more. And so with that, we were able to expand into AfroVibes Television. We're on Roku, we're on Amazon, Roku 100 million subscribers, Amazon Fire TV around 45. And then we have our brand new app called AfroVibes TV and radio, and then we have our website. So the goal of AfroVibes TV and radio is really just to promote our culture through music, talent. We have a lot of original content, kind of like Netflix original. We have AfroVibes original TV shows as well. And then we go into the community. We do business spotlights. We do red carpet events. We do birthday parties, So we're really an unconventional radio and television station where we promote and we expose things on our station. We're also really in touch with our community as well.
It sounds like you guys were up and running when COVID hit. And when this whole Zoom thing of being able to do TV and radio kind of intermeshed, that must have been a natural for you guys, because I've seen some of the stuff on your YouTube channel, and it looks like you're doing a lot of what we're doing at HCC TV.
Yeah, we're an internet radio company, so we've been well ahead of this wave. We've been reaching 182 countries, like I said. And so when people started going back on the internet for their broadcasting, we were well ahead. And we were probably one of the only companies to actually expand during COVID. And we've just been booming. We have millions of listeners each month and each day, actually. So it's just been a wonderful thing. And that's why we're also trying to talk to different schools like HCC and get their talent in as part of our community too in here.
And the most exciting thing too is you're Houston based, correct?
Yes, we are locally. We're here in Houston, but we're worldwide.
Right, sure. You broadcast worldwide, but
yeah.
Operations are here in Houston.
Yes.
Let's talk about the internship program. I was mentioning to James, when I went into broadcasting years ago, when I was going to college, you would go work for any TV station that would bring you in. You know, my first job was actually cleaning ashtrays. That's how long ago it was. Ashtrays and television monitors at TV stations. And then they let me start editing and doing a few other things. But your the whole internship program, I guess, has changed since those days. You guys use them quite extensively in your day-to-day operations. How does that work?
Yeah, we are really, you know, our owner, Philip Bellon, he's really trying to make sure that all the different people that come into our company are utilized to their fullest capacity, right? So it doesn't matter if you're someone in the industry for 20 years or you're just finishing college or still in college. And so a lot of our interns that come in, they're straight away, you know, even after the interview process and the hiring process, they're working behind the camera. They're editing shows, they're recording, they're coming out on site to events, right? And they're really getting that hands-on experience so that can equip them with the tools that they need to thrive in that industry, in that career. So we've been working with a lot of videographers. We have broadcast journalism, we have communications, we have just a lot of different people that work, human resources that work, you know, to you know, make this engine run. And internships are definitely a way that we work with the community and that we give back as well.
How many employees do you guys have here in the Houston area? And then do you have them based in other parts of the world as well?
We have a lot of employees because a lot of people do, you know, they're radio hosts, they're TV hosts, they're editors, they're DJs. So we work with like 75 DJs worldwide. We work with hundreds of TV hosts as well. And then, but the team in Houston, I would say is around 200 to 300 that come in. That's the certified TV hosts and behind the scenes or production crew. And then we also liaise with different groups of people as well that come for our events. Like, for example, we get hired to promote events, and so we'll have different people that will show up for those. We have performers. We work with a lot of community activists and leaders as well. We have close ties with the Black Chamber of Commerce, the Caribbean Chamber of Commerce. We're working a lot of groups as well. So those are also part of the vendors and the support we work with.
Let's talk about the student, I guess, that's most recently worked for you from HCC. His name is William Akocha. He's part of your team. Is he the first HCC student that you've worked with? Maybe you can tell us a bit about that.
He's the first from HCC. Okay. We've worked with different universities worldwide, but he's the first from HCC, yes.
And what exactly has he been able to do for you guys?
He's done a lot. He mostly does a lot of editing alongside our main engineer. So he does editing, he works with the camera, you know, sets up the various sets for our different television shows and radio shows as well. He also assists with the cleaning up after a long day. You know, he helps out. He's very hands-on with the team.
I would imagine with the operations that you probably have people going in and out of your offices around the clock to host programming. Is that correct?
Yes, we do.
It sounds like a busy operation. If you got 75, or you said 200 or 300 TV hosts, you got, you know, a local staff of 200 to 300, you're going to have people in there all the time. And there are different time zones around the world. So you're going to be doing live broadcasts all day long. Is that correct?
Right. But we do make sure that the internship program is quite, it is not all over the place, right? So when we did, you know, work with Will, we said, okay, what days work with you? Because we understand he's in school. So the days that did work with him and the times that worked with him, we made sure that, okay, he comes in for specific shows, either the recording of it or the editing of it or the pre or post production. And then, you know, editing obviously can be done anywhere. And so he sometimes will even come in if that's the case, and he will do it at home, and then he'll send the files. We have a couple of engineers that work with him, and so he liaises with them. Yeah,
how the times have changed. You know, we all get to work remotely nowadays. I'm broadcasting from my living room right now and have been for the last 13 months. But I was going to ask you about that. So students don't necessarily have to come to your offices to do the editing in an editing suite. You can do it on a laptop, I imagine, anywhere you would like. Is that how you guys are working?
That's most clients. There are some clients that are a little bit more where we have to kind of do it in the studio, either because maybe the tool that they're using or the software they're using is something that's really expensive and maybe they don't have it on their own laptop. But most times if it's something that can be done remotely, we definitely encourage that.
I imagine there are a lot of our students watching this now thinking, I want to go work for them, because just telling me personally, you guys sound like you got a fun job. So I'd love to be, you know, over doing that for a living. What are you looking for in a student when you get a student in? what are some of the things that the traits you're looking for if you know they're going to be on the team? And if they do well, do they have a chance of getting a full-time job with you in the future?
Yes, I would say the most important thing is professionalism, the ability to learn and adapt, because, you know, nobody's perfect and we're all going to a higher ground. So in order for them to continue elevating with us, we're looking for them to be professional, be able to bring something to the table, be open to instruction, and, you know, also being able to give their own ideas as well. What else would you
I mean, the thing with us is that we understand that they have not gotten their degree yet. So we definitely have a full staff that is able to help them and guide them and instruct them. But as Soleil said, you know, bringing that creativity, bringing your new ideas, and being able to take correction and, you know, adjust and change and adapt is really key. Also being independent, you know, a lot of times, as we said, because of COVID, you're not able to come into the office, or maybe, you know, the head of production isn't in the office, or like other times we have stuff off site, you know, you're in the studio, people are not here, people are moving around. So you're not going to have that hand holding as you would have maybe in a traditional job. So being able to be independent and being individualistic and coming up with your own thing and taking a risk and saying, okay, this is what I edited, this is how it looks, what do you think? You know, giving options and kind of getting that creativity going. I think that's really, really key in an internship.
Yeah, the creativity is phenomenal, especially with our students. When I know I want to get a different idea or a different perspective or to get the right look, I go to our students, you know, and they're able to give us things that we've never even thought of it that way, you know.
Right. It's good to shake it up. Oh,
yeah, absolutely. We've been talking with Ysa Abraham, the development manager, and Cara Soleil White, the creative director at AfroVibes. We appreciate you ladies being here on the show. Thank you for joining us, and thanks for giving our students an opportunity.
Thank you for having us.
We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to be meeting in again with James Mable from HCC's Career and Job Placement Services. We're going to be talking about how HCC helps not only our students get out into the real world, get a job, but also helps the alumni. Maybe they're looking to get another job. We can help them as well. We'll have more on that when we return on The Topic.
The faculty at HCC represents the best of Houston. Whether your goal is a 4-year college, a better job, or a whole new career,
come learn with us.
HCC, for everyone, anytime, anyway.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
It takes less than 1 minute to find out if you may have prediabetes. You can do it here. But I get it, you're busy, and busy people can't have prediabetes. I read that wrong. They can, okay? Just go to the site.
The faculty at HCC represents the best of Houston. Whether your goal is a 4-year college, a better job, or a whole new career,
come learn with us.
HCC, for everyone, anytime, anyway.
Welcome back to The Topic. I'm Todd Duplantis. You know, HCC provides a pathway to a career for our students when they graduate or get certified. But when they're out there in the workforce, maybe they're looking for a better job, or maybe unfortunately because of COVID, they lose their job. Well, HCC's Job Placement and Career Services is still here to help them. We've got James Mable, the director of the programs, joining us again. James, we do offer services to our alumni, and are you seeing an influx of maybe people who have unfortunately had their hours cut or been laid off because of COVID and are now looking for a job again?
Yes, we've had students who have been obviously had their jobs disrupted by COVID. When I say students, I mean alumni and students at other, at universities that have went to HCC coming back and requesting access to Career Hub. So we've had it across the gamut as far as the different reasons why students and graduates are requesting access to our services and specifically HCC Career Hub.
Well, you brought up a good point, because say I go to HCC for a couple of years, but then I move on and I graduate, get my associates from HCC, but I go into Texas A&M or maybe UT or TSU and finish out the 4-year and get the 4-year degree. Then I get out in the work world, I lose my job. I'm still welcome back to Career Hub at HCC. You guys can still help me as a former student?
Yes, even as a former student, you are still able to access Career Hub. So for those who've just finished, they have access to their HCC login credentials for 1 year, up to 1 year after graduation. After that, they can go to our site and request an account. They'll be able to access it, upload their resumes, and start applying for jobs and register for events. They can also schedule appointments with us as well.
Well, that was going to be my next question. What do you suggest to do first? I'm out looking for a job, whether I've lost my job or I'm a student graduating and I need to get to work. What do I do first? Should I upload my resume? Do I contact someone? Log into Career Hub? What are the steps to take first?
The first step is getting access to Career Hub. And that's a site for those who've finished, as I said, past 1 year. They'll have to have an account created for them. Those who graduated less than a year ago still have access to their Career Hub account, and they can log in with their HCC credentials and get access. I think the first step, once they get access to Career Hub, is to upload their new resume. That is important because we review accuracy and for formatting purposes to make sure it's ready for prime time. And then they can also schedule an appointment with us to talk more in depthly about their career plans, and we can discuss matching them with specific jobs and companies in Career Hub.
You know, that resume is so important when you want to show yourself to a company, and there, keywords that are needed for searches, and one, misspelled word, maybe you transpose the letters, didn't catch it, your wife didn't catch it, and other people didn't catch it, but the employer catches it and you don't get the job. Do you guys help them put this resume together? You talked about checking it for accuracy, for spelling or formatting. Can you help them put one together? Maybe somebody's like, I haven't put a resume together in 10 years. What do I do?
Students should feel very confident that we literally work with them on their resume. And what I mean by that is going section by section on the resume to look at the grammar, to look at the content directly, like, what type of experience are you putting on the resume, making sure that it has all of the necessary information in order for that resume to get a call, to get that student a call back when they upload it to an applicant tracking system. And one advantage that employers have is applicant tracking systems that can filter resumes. You mentioned like keywords. That is so important because a lot of employers use electronic software to process resumes. So we want students to be very strategic about the word choice on their resume for that reason.
Do you take surveys among your current students and former students, the alumni, to see what they're looking for and obviously how we can maybe better serve them?
We do have student satisfaction surveys that go out to them every time they schedule an appointment with us. To get feedback about obviously how the appointment went, but also their experience using Career Hub and their history using the system as well. We do also have a graduation survey that's going out right now to those who are expected to graduate in May and August. And we're asking them, what about their experience at HCC, and also we're asking about their employment status and where they're working, and if they're planning to transfer. Right. Where are they planning to transfer? We'd like to get information so we can, adjust to those trends and obviously adjust our services and resources to current students.
James, we're about to wrap up for the show, but if someone wants to get to Career Hub, where do they go to on the website to find you?
Students can go to hccs.edu/Career Hub. And that is where there's information for them to log in if they have access still to their account. And there's information for alumni to request an account in order for them to gain access to Career Hub.
We've been talking with James Mable, the director of HCC's Career Job Placement Services. James, thanks for being here on the show.
Thank you for having me, Todd.
And thank you for joining us on today's show. Of course, we do these shows every week here on HCC TV. And if you want to download audio versions of our shows, check out our podcast network at hccs.edu/podcast. For the topic on HCC TV, I'm Todd Duplantis. We'll see you next time.